Good morning, everybody. Oh, it's just a beautiful morning. Sun is shining, clouds, blue sky, got it all. Just very pleasant out. Real nice gentle rain last night, about a quarter of an inch. Just feels refreshing. Now I know that some areas of our country have been experiencing some pretty nasty weather, whether hurricane, tropical storm, tornadoes, El Derecho. I mean, there's been quite a bit of bad stuff, along with wildfires out west. And, when you get through a disastrous situation like that, one thing that often comes to mind is, oh, thank God we're all still here. Property destruction, yeah, that might be all about, but most important thing is our lives and our loved ones are still with us. And so a natural response is to thank God for that, right? Thank God we're all here, we're all alive. And that was no different back in ancient days when the Israelites were wandering the wilderness, when they were moving into the promised land. It doesn't matter. And there were psalms that were written for occasions like that. They're called Psalms of Thanksgiving. And the basic premise is something bad happened to me. I prayed to God, and God gave me the strength to get through it. And I'm on the other side now. Maybe a little battered and beaten up, but hey, here I am. That's one of our Psalms that we're taking a look at this Sunday. It's Psalm 138, very short one. I like to read it. I give thee thanks, O Lord, with my whole heart. Before the gods I sing thy praise. I bow down toward thy holy temple and give thanks to thy name for thy steadfast love and thy faithfulness. For thou hast exalted everything, thy name and thy word. On the day I called, thou didst answer me. My strength of soul thou didst increase. All the kings of the earth shall praise thee, O Lord, for they have heard the words of thy mouth, and they shall sing of the ways of the Lord. For great is the glory of the Lord. For though the Lord is high, he regards the lowly, but the haughty he knows from afar. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, thou dost preserve my life. Thou dost stretch out thy hand against the wrath of my enemies, and thy right hand delivers me. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Thy steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. Do not forsake the work of thy hands. So I kind of used a psalm translation there that used a lot of the these and the thous, but sometimes it pulls in that sing-song motion of the Psalms, which we often miss and is missing in our English translations. That's why I chose to read that way today. Now, if you were a Jew and you went through a tough time, you went to the temple, you made a sacrifice, but as you made your sacrifice, you made your offering to God, often you sang a hymn as well. This is one of those hymns. It's kind of a generic one. It doesn't name the exact trouble that this individual went through, but it just says, God, you were there. You were there. And it mentions all the real key points that people relied on as they went through those difficult times. Some of the highlights of the entire Old Testament. Words like steadfast love and faithfulness. Steadfast love, that's hesed. That's a word that pops up 250 times in the Old Testament, but in the Psalms alone are half of those times. Your steadfast love, your faithfulness. Someone has said it's like pulling a plug on a big barrel that's labeled God's love and grace, and it never empties. It just keeps pouring out, pouring out, pouring out. Your steadfast love and faithfulness. And the fact that you give your praise before, this is kind of strange, I sing your praise before the other gods? What other gods? There's only God, right? Oh, well, hey, wait a minute. Other gods. We have other gods in our lives. We have other things that we place ahead of God our Father, Yahweh, right? Yeah. I'm putting these other gods in their place when I sing my praises to you, oh God. But here's the part I really, really like. Well, and it goes back to an earlier part of the psalm that says, on the day I called, you answered me. I could depend on you being there for me. On the day I called, you answered me. But Here's what he answered me. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you preserve my life. Now, this is the interesting thing about these Psalms. They're written in Hebrew. There are a lot of Hebrew words, I've mentioned this before, that we just don't know what they are, or else they're very difficult to translate into English. One of them is this word trouble. Though I walk in the midst of trouble. I mean, that could be a lot of different things, but literally it means I'm being constricted, I'm being suffocated. I can't breathe. Though I walk in the midst of trouble in which I can't even catch my breath, you preserve my life. What a powerful imagery. And don't we all feel like that from time to time? Don't a lot of us feel like that right now with what we're going through across the world in this pandemic? Though I walk in the midst of trouble, though I can barely catch my breath, you preserve me. It's a beautiful psalm, and it ends on a high note. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. Now, please, don't give up on us. Don't forsake the work of your hands. Don't give up on your saving actions toward us. Beautiful psalm, a short one. Again, it's one that they would sing as they're making their thank offering to God for whatever tough time they came through. As we go through our difficult times, let's remember to give our thanks to God in the same way, especially thanking Him for His steadfast love that lasts forever. Blessings be with you this day.